Let's go to game 2, though. Enemy need to answer back here because Envy looks so good in that last game. I expect picks and bans to be different, and we'll get that straight away because Enemy's going to switch sides here.
Enemy with the first pick. I would say first pick is more beneficial at this point. We saw the picks and bans, a lot of targeted bans from both sides. Giannis, Sol from Envy, and then Aphrodite, and then having to ban the Nemesis for Enemy.
That's true. I mean, it was the Aphrodite ban, I think, was the interesting one. They didn't want to deal with Kiki in the mid lane on that. Enemy, though, going to think things through for themselves. They will ban the Afro again, and the one they banned with that was the Nemesis. I don't think they banned Nemesis this game themselves, though.
Not if they're first pick. They're probably going to want to have that for Shattered. He's going to be making the rotations as he needs to do. It's such a short cooldown of an ultimate.
Yeah. And it just makes impact throughout the whole game as well. I think it's Nemesis is very similar to Hombats for me right now. In terms of Hombats will do a big AoE ultimate in the team, and it's useful every stage of the game. Nemesis is a singular ultimate, but at the same time, it guarantees you a kill or one person completely out of the fight.
Exactly, that's what you want to do. We saw so many instances the last game where there was so much poke damage onto one member from Enemy that they were forced out of the fight, especially that like second or third last one onto Shattered with that Vulcan ultimate. He just had nowhere to go. He was out of the fight 4v5.
Well, second ban will be Nemesis, and we just recognizing that Enemy will probably not ban that one. So let's not waste a ban just yet and see what Enemy choose to leave open here, because obviously first pick has the options.
That's what you really want to do, and that's why Enemy decided to go for that first pick. And this is going to give him so much flexibility, because now more than likely Enemy, I don't expect them to go for a target ban necessarily. They're probably going to go, okay,
you want to tell you about
I'm going to hold my tongue, and it's going to be a Giannis ban, which gives some options more. It could be the Terra for Enemy. We'll see if Envy are going to be able to counteract it.
That's true.
Against Enemy.
Well, at the same time, does PainDeViande want to play this? Do they have it in their books ready to unleash onto the side of Envy, or would they leave it open and go for Fafnir or something else here?
Well, if they first pick Fafnir, then they're giving EnVyUs another Terra. And that's not something you really want to do for PandaCat. You want to be able to have him an easier time in the dual lane.
Well, now Envy have the option to take Jing away if they want to and give it over to Ocean's here. You don't really want, after seeing that one time of Terra and Jing together, I don't think we're going to see that ever again.
The stun into the knock-up, there's just into the root.
It's the same as Fafnir and Frey. You don't want to see those together, unless you're Terra Jing Wei.
Yeah, unless you're Terra Jing Wei, where you're able to control the laning phase. The team fights from Fafnir Freya in the mid to late game is so strong, but if you don't survive the early laning phase, favor the Terra.
Well, Envy going to go back to Ratatoskr. Skeeledon had a fantastic performance there. I love the pressure he put on at all places of the map in the early stages. If he can continue that, it'll cause more issues for Enemy.
That's what exactly he wants to do, and that's why he first picks it. Jing Wei going to get locked in yet again for Oceans this time around. We'll see if he's able to perform the same way, because it's going to be against a Terra who's going to be able to really control the laning phase.
That's true. We'll see how he has to perform with this one. As well as it's not knockups that Terra provides, so Jing Wei doesn't have an easy time getting away like against a Bacchus or something like that.
It's all about the roots. And also, though, you could potentially find, well, actually, she's immune to the knockups during her obelisk form. So I was going to say, like, you can knock her up while she's dashing, but you can't if there's an obelisk up.
Very difficult for them to be able to do that. On top of that, though, we're going to see double dots coming out from Enemy right now. They're going to throw as many dots at the composition of Envy as they can so far with those first two picks. We'll see what their third one's going to do and if it's going to follow the same sort of trend.
You can never go wrong with more dots.
I mean, you can if they've got Shell. I mean, if the team just pop Shell, like,
I mean, if you're trying to burn a boss, you know.
That's true.
You never saw that video?
Yeah, I know what it was, totally.
More dots?
I was just saying in the game of Smite, like, more dots might not be that useful.
Especially with Mark of the Vanguard available, a lot of Guardians will elect to go for Watcher's Gift boots into Mark of the Vanguard, especially with all these dots coming from enemies so far. Jetstream from Susano is going to be limited quite heavily.
Surprised me to see an Ao Kwang potential for Shattered here in the jungle. Ao Kwang seems to have just fallen out of favor all of a sudden in the Pro League. Not getting bans, not getting picked too often. People have started to just realize we can deal with Ao Kwang now.
It's all about...
He's not been changed.
It's the early laning phase, honestly. The early jungle control. Ao Kwang, if you don't have the setup, the damage from your teammates, then you can't really find the easy executes.
Well, Fafnir, Terra will be the matchups. I'm not surprised to see Fafnir picked up by Envy there. Before the counterban phase, Vulcan, Raijin taken out by Enemy. And we'll see what Kiki's going to play in mid. Kiki generally, though, has a very unconventional god pull in terms of very deep and can pull out things that you would not normally see in the mid lane.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kiki would go as Nuwa here, honestly. You're trying to protect yourself against the dive from Susano. It's very easy to find the confirmed Clay Golem stun, which would disrupt Susano's potential to escape.
That's a really good call, Sol. I think you're right on the money with that one. Nuwa's probably the best option here for them. Could try and run a Hunter though if they wanted to, but with Jing Wei already, probably not.
You could run Neath, potentially, to have the global to pair it up with Skeeledon, whoever he decides to gank in the side lane. It's going to be the Amaterasu for CycloneSpin yet again.
Yeah, back to the solo lane comfortability for him. He had a fantastic game there as well, did Cyclone, to be fair. Getting to the back line, his laning phase was decent enough against especially a Raven that he had to deal with there.
It was all about the first blood, honestly, onto Marauder. That kind of pressure that Skeeledon applied to his lane allowed CycloneSpin to survive the early laning phase.
We're going old school again. It's PandaCat, and he's back to Artemis. If in doubt, pick Artemis. That just seems to be PandaCat's strategy.
The thing is, though, I don't think I've ever seen him play Artemis without Khaos playing the Giannis.
For the extra
I think every
mobility.
time that he played Artemis, that was the conjunction that enemy ran together, because he would also play Blink Artemis. He would go aggressive, and he would rely on that important portal to bail him out of a sticky situation.
Well, it's not going to be new white. It's going to be the unconventional again, Chang'e, this time again for the mid lane. Mid lane at Kiki, and Kiki ran it to decent effect in the time we saw it so far in this play. He got focused a lot, but was able to dance away.
It's another safe god, honestly. You have the second ability, which gives you so much time for immunity frames. You have an ultimate where if they're chasing you, all five members, you can easily find the multi-man stun, which lasts longer and longer the second, third, fourth target you hit.
Well, let's see how this one plays out, because PandaCat here started things off with Transcendence on the Artemis this game as well. So going for the power spike for Artemis here, it's not something you see too often on her generally, but it does work out pretty well.
I like this pair, though, because you have the root stun from Pain, and then you have another root, and this gives you enough time to set up your trap from PandaCat. I like this comp.
You can definitely get a trap underneath someone quite easily here, especially if this composition works out nicely. And trying to catch somebody is going to be the key here. And PolarBearMike in the early stages, if he doesn't take his underhanded tactics on that Fafnir, could cause him a few issues.
And that's going to be the plan, more than likely. PolarBearMike is not going to be able to jump in aggressively. He's going to pay with his life if he opts for that option. And this should give enough lane control for enemy to keep pushing with the MP5 sustain from the Transcendence.
I like the adaptation from PainDeViande on this game as well. The sprint is actually very useful for both aggressive and defensiveness in terms of this lane, especially with Artemis having no real escape apart from just running away. Well, you can sprint and allow it to get away from those situations, but at the same time, if there's kill potential, that sprint will make an impact in the early game, being able to run down some of these targets.
Absolutely. This time it's going to be enemy trying to go for that early first blood with the Terra onto PainDeViande, looking for that to set up PandaCat, especially with an Artemis. If you can get her to the mid to late game, that's where you really shine.
And the thing this game is definitely about the two side lanes, obviously. Duo lane, PandaCat versus Oceans, and Cyclone versus Marauder, and the boys of enemy have to step up this game.
It seems Shatter is able to make the first rotation to those right side mid harpies. A lot of pressure from Envy in the soul lane, allowing Amaterasu to rotate underneath, though.
They're going to be able to try and find Khaos, but Khaos will dash away. The stun did not hit from Skeeledon there with those acorns, so he was able to walk away and survive to live another day.
It's all about the fear of the rotation from CycloneSpin. He didn't even commit to the rotation. He was doing Fire Giant Elementals, while Marauder, he called out like, hey, listen, CycloneSpin is rotating underneath. You have to watch out, because it's going to be a 3-on-2.
Surprised by the amount of aggression coming out from Envy again. A lot of respect for this lane overall here. I'm surprised that Terra's not doing a little bit more. I guess at level 2, you know, you've not got the clear with the monolith online now. You generally take your 2 or your 1 at the start of the game, then take the other one. So it's normally level 3 that the dominance of Terra starts to happen. I expected more from these Guardians playing Terra to probably pick up the 1 at the start of the game, and then 3 just for a very early dominant wave clear.
But once you do have the Obelisk to get the sustain, this is going to allow PandaCat to keep on trucking for what he wants to do. He'll lose a couple waves of gold under the tower early on, but it's going to transition pretty nicely once he gets some items.
Well, this is the same similar situation as last game where we saw enemy invading the back harpies. This time around it's Envy is there on the Chaos side doing it. And back to the mid lane they go. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, Shattered looking for some pressure onto Cyclone early on, but Cyclone just sat on the tower happily farming away, and Cyclone has an idea something crazy might be going on.
If CycloneSpin dashes here, this could be the opportunity that Shattered really needs to find the early first blood, but it doesn't seem CycloneSpin is going for the bait. He's being very patient.
I'm really surprised by that one. Right, left-hand side though, PandaCat going to get hit by the hammer and the gust as well, so forced back. Actually had to use a little bit of mana there just to give himself that extra attack speed and mobility.
And now they're still trying to zone out the Hunter. They're looking to still play aggressive against PandaCat, not really wanting him to pair up with the stun root combination from Pain.
Yeah, just patiently sitting back and using that monolith defensively there just to sustain PandaCat up a little bit more. He did pop a health potion there as well already, so he's going to be sat there healing up. And 1 potion left for PandaCat is the biggest one there, and you can see Ocean sat on 3.
And all they really have to worry about is the rotations of the jungle. But yet again, this time it's Skeeledon making the rotation. Envy have just been on
Pain's too far forward here as well. well, and Pain's going to get heavily punished for this one. He will dash away and get the walls up, but only 1 or 2 more hits is required. The monolith comes through, but Skeeledon's not finished yet. He wants to kill. He'll find it, and he dashes out again.
Great first blood from Skeeledon, recognizing all the damage they had. He had the dash available to escape, though.
He's in a lot of trouble there for a second. They tried to commit enemy in mid lane, which I think is a great call when they see Skeeledon that committed on the left-hand side, but Kiki stands tall in the mid lane. It did cost him his purification and his ultimate, however.
And now Shattered is not worried about the ultimate from Skeeledon, positioning himself for the speed buff invade, and no rotation from CycloneSpin. He does teleport to tier 2, though.
Can he get back in time is the question before the buff goes down. No, but he may be able to pick up Shattered off this one as well. And Shattered teleported into CycloneSpin. Cyclone read him like a book, and that book, well, it's the end.
It's closed now for Shattered. Great job by CycloneSpin, recognizing that he needed to teleport to the tier 2 tower. More importantly, this gives you a closer route towards that speed buff of yourself. Even dashing in knowing that Shattered was there.
And not only that, they get the speed buff answered back by EnVy now. Now they can get the blue buff as well. They get the first 2 kills of the game and strip more buffs from the enemy.
And EnVy just extending their lead. And this is what you have to do when you have the solo jungle side control. Strip the speed, strip the blue, allow this Amaterasu to really shine. And it's against the Vamana, who struggles a little bit early.
It's getting under a little bit of pressure there, but in the end it was Pain that took most of the brunt of that one. He should be okay for now, but Shattered going in looking for a pick on Skeeledon, who's low on mana, but the stun from the walls does not connect from Pain. Skeeledon lives to fight another day, and PolarBearMike with a very good ultimate there.
Just a zoning one.
Yeah.
A really good job. It secures yourselves the right side mid Harpies. You're not really looking to team fight anyway. All these ultimates from EnVyUs are down. We see Kiki's is down as well as Cyclones.
Kiki in the mid lane, we mentioned he got pressured a little bit earlier on, but doesn't have to base too often, does a Chang'e, that little bunny rabbit. Something we don't talk about too much, but solo lane Marauder under pressure.
There is no ultimate on the side of Marauder, so this could be a dive quite heavily, but not that much mobility quite yet. CycloneSpin only level 8.
Yeah, but the rotation was coming in from enemy there. You could see, and immediately EnVy going to back up, and instead it's pressure to the left-hand side. Ocean's now forced out with the airstrike. Didn't hang around there, just immediately disengaged.
Great timing of the ultimate, but now a lot of trouble is CycloneSpin. He's barely not able to dash under his tower, so a nice little pick from the side of enemy, but there's no buffs for them to really take away. But that's going to deny a huge wave to Cyclone.
Funny enough, I want to say like Cyclone kind of outplayed himself there. I mean, he knew the rotation was there, he knew they were in the jungle, but didn't respect it. Thought he could stay around, and in the end, he paid the iron price, so he falls down for enemy to get first blood, go in the way of Susano, which is not really something you want to give kills to.
Not at all. That's sometimes the solo curse, unfortunately. You think you're a god quite yet, but it's only a level 8 Amaterasu. Doesn't have Breastplate of Valor quite finished. Doesn't have the infinite sustain, only having that level 2 aura.
He's only going to fall down now, but he's working towards Breastplate of Valor now, CycloneSpin, after that fall down. And his teleport will be up in 40 seconds, so they could look for a Gold Fury off that EnVy as well, now that he doesn't need to base again.
And looking at the relic options, though, there is no Wrath on either side. A Sanctuary onto Kiki, and he used it earlier on just to survive the little 1v2 skirmish.
PandaCat in lane, working on that Transcendence, is stacking up now, so it's 7 stacks so far. Ocean's, meanwhile, on the Jing way, is going for the Devour's Gauntlets build, or more than likely so far this game. And it's interesting to see how many different Hunter builds we see these days, Tolly. It's not the same every single game from every single Hunter.
Not at all. And like needless to say, we had Skeeledon in the air, going to find the knockup and doing so much damage to PandaCat, still being aggressive. A nice
purification.
Nice purification from Skeeledon.
Skeeledon recognized it with the purification that the ball was going to hit, but made sure it didn't happen. PolarBearMike now aggressing onto the mid laner and the jungler, forcing them both out as well around that red buff area, and it was stolen and given to Oceans.
And with the sustain from Kiki, this could give a Gold Fury opportunity on the side of EnVyUs, but they're looking to play really safe right now. We see CycloneSpin not making the rotation. He's waiting to clear out the wave and now make the rotation to contest the speed buff, maybe.
He's also mainly to stop Marauder getting to that wave as well, which is going into his tower. That kind of answers back a little bit to some of the gold that Cyclone lost early, but now he's rotated on by the whole team of enemy here. Luckily enough, he's got a bit of support in the Fafnir, and now he may be able to turn this around in a 3v2.
And look at this, the rest of EnVyUs bailing CycloneSpin now, finding the kill onto Shatter, the ultimate from Kiki, trying to stop the Vamana in his tracks.
Not only that, he was using the anti-heal as well to make sure he didn't get much healing off in that one, to try to burst down to make sure there wasn't too much sustain. EnVy on the march forward again, 7 minutes in, 5-1. Not taking a Gold Fury yet, but they've not needed to.
Not at all. They're going to strip away the speed and the blue yet again from enemy, and they don't have to go for a gold if they can consistently find these buffs off of their rotations.
Well, Pain just dashed in. He's going to have a second dash, but now he's got no real escape. The stun's not going to connect, but EnVy not interested in getting baited by PainDeViande into a fight there. They're going to strip the jungle and leave.
He had no more abilities to really steal the blue buff away, and we saw the rotation from PandaCat just securing the left side mid Harpies, Envy securing their own mids. This could be an opportunity. PandaCat could wrap around on the left-hand side here.
He's about to do that as well, but Ocean's recognizing it as well, gets away in time. PainDeViande wasn't able to keep them pinned long enough, unfortunately, for the team to wrap around and find the pick. They will look towards a speed buff here, though.
Great timing, though, because there's so many ultimates down from EnVyUs. They poked out Oceans. He had no mana to really contest this. Skeeledon in the scare, finding 2 on the knockup.
The ball comes out, but it's going to be avoided one of those. However, Skeeledon goes down. Round the back is Kiki. No ultimate available for Kiki just yet, and they turn their attention to Khaos. Forced down the back as Cyclone's ultimate is destroying them.
He's making the rotations and just destroying people with that ultimate. The Amaterasu at this point with a level 2 ultimate, you're finding that third important hit. These rotations from CycloneSpin have just been on point.
Not just CycloneSpin though, but Oceans again making it all the way over to this right-hand side. PandaCat was there too, but him coming over really helped. And now Envy, well, with 3 members dead on the side of enemy, they can just go for a free goal fury.
A little bit of lifesteal onto Oceans. You have the Fafnir to give you the attack speed. You also have the Chang'e for the sustain. This goal fury is a very safe attempt coming out of Envy.
This just feels like Envy just not allowing enemy to get to that mid-game stage where the power spike is really going to hit through for them. They just put the gas pedal down straight away and tried to play from the outset.
And this is what you have to do whenever you have a lead, such as Envy does. They're not afraid to continue the aggression. CycloneSpin, he baited himself on the tier 1 right tower early on, wasn't successful, but when he baited himself around that speed buff, that's where it was very crucial, and this is why EnVyUs has the lead.
Oh, at the moment, everyone's going to fall back to farming again. Kiki has got a Doom Orb online now in the mid lane on the Chang'e. Still not died in this game, but involved in 5 of the kills, Kiki. And he's one that gets overlooked a lot of the time. He's not had the greatest of years overall in terms of performance with Kiki. A lot of role changes for him as well. But now he's back in his natural role, and he seems very comfortable there once more.
He's feeling very confident that both Cyclonespin, Skeeledon, hold that thought. Skeeledon going to go in the sky. Going to probably try to force out the double ultimate, but a nice purification yet again.
And however, he will fall down to PainDeViande, which is a good pickup from Pain to secure the kill there with a good stun, but a great pickup one more time. Skeeledon being so aggressive.
That's going to allow Oceans to really get the lead over PandaCat. Already 1 level ahead, has the red buff, could still look for more boxing opportunities because now he doesn't have to worry about the board.
Back to mid lane goes the mid laners and the jungler for enemy here. Meanwhile, PolarBearMike just trying to zone him away for a second so they can just fall back to their own side as well. And you mentioned that, all this pressure onto PandaCat one more time from Skeeledon. Skeeledon's really started to find his feet this game.
That's what you have to do as a global presence jungler, whether you're Thor, Ratatoskr, you have a Giannis in middle. You have to be applying pressure in the side lanes. He was finding the pressure in the solo lane the last game. This time around, he's leaning on Oceans a lot this one.
I'll tell you, I'm actually feeling that Ratatoskr should probably be on that almost permaban list from pro players right now because the win rate's getting out of hand. He's making a lot of impacts in so many games. That semi-global ultimate with a knock-up with such a large area as well is just impacting so many times.
We saw Apollo's ultimate back in the day. He used to have a knock-up, and that's why he was changing out. Sharad finding a double knock-up with the bombs raining in from Khaos.
CycloneSpin will fall down here. PolarBearMike avoids a lot of damage there. Still has his abilities left, but he's trying to hold them as long as he can. Waxing Moon, though, from Kiki on the rotation, looking to punish them back. Khaos trapped inside the pit as Marauder falls down. Khaos looking for an exit strategy, but no, Skeeledon will pick him up beforehand. And meanwhile, Sharad having to juke out, waiting for abilities. It's a 2-for-1 exchange in the favor of Envy again.
Great rotation from Kiki and Skeeledon, cleaning that team fight up, being rewarded with the speed buff on top of this for PolarBearMike. And now they could keep on leaning on this dual lane because Oceans, he's putting pressure on that tower.
And Ocean's got a good bit of poke off with the Gust as Pain's trying to hold mid lane here at the moment as well. No minion jet, but the trade going even. Both these two have crit naturally in their kit as well, which is not enough.
Skeeledon finding the knockup yet again. Board doesn't even matter. Casually dashing away.
Jeez.
Oceans and Skeeledon abusing PandaCat here.
This goes back to the last set we saw PandaCat in as well. This just seems to be the game plan now from NA. How do we deal with enemy? Mess up PandaCat the whole time.
I'm just not very comfortable right now with enemy's draft going into the second game. And overall, like, it was the Vamana that's getting countered by the Chang'e middle, right? That's a great counter that Envy has done. And on top of this, you're putting yourself in a position with an Artemis against a global presence jungler.
Just to explain for the fans at home as well, what's the biggest reason that Chang'e's a counter to Vamana? It's basically the anti-heal, right?
So yeah, the third ability also provides the anti-heal. You can get a Divine Ruin, and whenever Marauder goes into his ultimate form, it's going to limit limit the effectiveness of that heal.
Yeah, Moonflower Dance, as you can see on your screen there. It's not a massive amount of... Actually, it's a bigger healing reduction than I thought it was. 50% is actually quite a large margin. When you think about every single tick that Vamana's ultimate goes through, well, it's half as effective.
Especially if you pair that up with the Divine Ruin, or you can even go for the Brawler's Beatstick on the side of Skeeledon. It doesn't matter who you get the anti-healing on. You just got to make sure you shut down the big baby.
Pre-game, you were saying, you know, you felt like Picks and Bans let enemy down, and you feel like it's done it again this game as well.
I would say so. The Terra was a good option, but EnVy has been doing a good job surrounding themselves, dealing with this pick. Like, it hasn't been a factor, I would say, compared to the last game where EnVy ran it.
Well, at the moment, PolarBearMike's just happy to sit in the solo lane with CycloneSpin, chilling up against Marauder. He doesn't have his ultimate available anymore. There's no rotation on the map happening as they're looking for Kiki mid lane instead. But Kiki's just doing a good job of surviving. Need to get a Sanctuary now. Well, Skeeledon a little bit off the mark with that one. However, PainDeViande could be in a bit of an awkward spot still.
Kiki's still having his ultimate. He's waiting for the right timing to get the multi-target. The stuns will last longer and longer. And with Goldfear being down, EnVyUs were able to get tier 1 on the right.
PandaCat looking for a trade here, but the trade answered back with that Gust coming out, and actually going to get the blessing out of PainDeViande. We did see Kiki fall down, however, we missed that off the map. He did get picked off in the mid lane, but EnVy took a tier 1 tower on the right as that happened.
They're still trying to steal the speed buff regardless of the death of Kiki. PolarBearMike zoning pretty effectively against those two members, and now wrapping underneath. CycloneSpin could look for something onto Khaos.
A little bit too aggressive coming out from EnVy here, a little bit overextended, but all the members are pretty much here, and Ocean's now coming straight down the mid lane with his passive on the Jing means they could have a man advantage again as they look to take away the blue buff.
Skeeledon is stuck inside the cave. He needs to find a way out quickly because Khaos is here with the bombs.
And the bombs do rain down, but how much damage is it? Well, Khaos eats more damage than he wanted. The Cyclone will follow up with a very good ultimate that gets him and Shattered as well. Double kill for the solo laner.
A nice little root from PainDeViande preventing a third death, but Goldfury has respawned. The rotation from Ocean's in the mid lane applying so much pressure. It's only PandaCat defending in middle, but on the right, EnVy, they're still putting pressure in tier 2. They're not running for the goal.
It's only PainDeViande defending, but the trade-off between the two. Ocean takes a trade, uses the airstrike to the backside, and now, meanwhile, right hand side, he can now rotate here for a tier 2.
That was such a smart play coming out of Ocean's, going beyond the tier 1 tower, because look at where Kiki is. He's respawning, and he's going to be looking for the kill.
Can he find PandaCat in the jungle? There's a question. No ultimate available, but the gap closes available. Then the blink.
The blink
from PandaCat.
From PandaCat, the defensive blink, more importantly. Kiki wanted to chase that kill so badly. He popped a sprint just to be able to force that cooldown, which is very important now because the back from PandaCat is going to take a little while. EnVy, they have a slight window to do gold, but it's only Kiki and Oceans, unfortunately.
Yeah, very true indeed. PainDeViande's going to go straight to that gold fury though. Make sure he gets a ward down for this one. 8,000 experience, 5,500 gold in favor of EnVy this game. They're looking for their very first 2-0 of this split as well. They've only found draws so far, and 2 of those draws were against Denial and Ego, which is some credit to them here. But taking a 2-0 over enemy, well, that's a bigger stride for me.
It is definitely impressive, but it's definitely a crippled enemy, I would say, at this point in time. They haven't been really finding their footing with PandaCat being gone for so long and transitioning back from his vacation. It just hasn't been seeming the picks and bans from enemy are really on point.
That's true. I mean, at the same time, PandaCat being missed is one downside for enemy here, but I don't think that's just it. There seems to be something else that's off totally. Left-hand side, though, Skeeledon looking for pressure. Sorry, getting pressured by Shattered there, but he doesn't manage to find the pull in. So in the end, the right just stays alive.
Shattered is 3 levels behind Skeeledon, but he had Khaos on the backside, and that's what you really want to do. Right-hand side, though, CycloneSpin is just pushing this tier 2 tower for free.
And he can't get a rotation now because Marauder's got no teleport available here, so they're trying to commit in the jungle here onto Ocean to use the airstrike very early, positioned himself nicely. Even gets the ultimate out of PolarBearMike, but the counter rotations here as the ball is dropped from PandaCat. PolarBearMike leapt away from that beautifully.
And Khaos is forced, or was thinking about backing because CycloneSpin was still putting pressure on the Phoenix, but now he's going to be able to teleport on the right-hand side. He's going to be looking for the dive.
And he's going to get out with the big baby form. Good walls coming down from PainDeViande to slow them. Has the monolith down as well if he needs to root. However, Shatter just recommitted with his ultimate on his own there. The rest of enemy were not on the same page with him at all. And now EnVy, they fall back to the goal for you, and Pain's going to go in deep here to try and defend it.
And Kiki, he's going to be looking for a nice ultimate, but it doesn't matter because enemy, they don't want to commit, but Cyclone will.
Looking for the pick on Shattered, but he gets away with the jet stream for now. Gold Fury extends the gold lead for EnVy as they swing round towards mid lane here, looking for a potential tier 2 or finding a pick on a rotation out of the jungle.
So much gold in the lead as EnVy off of that Gold Fury, 9,000 now. They're still going to be aggressive, just poking out Khaos by a Guardian being so annoying.
What he's doing is actually stopping from rotating towards mid lane so they can look to pressure it. However, with Pain being there, they're going to back up, but they will get a speed buff on the right.
It's all about the zoning just to get these little buffs. Now you're going to be able to have 5 of your own buffs with the addition of your red, speed, and blue on top of stealing the speed and blue of enemy.
14-5. This is not what I expected out of this. I said that game 1, but game 2 is going the same way. Right-hand side, Shattered's in trouble, going to get knocked up by Skeeledon, and now Cyclone's going to try and run him down too. Shattered trying to run away, won't live. Skeeledon gets credited for another kill. 8, 2, and 6 on the Ratatoskr this game.
Despite Shattered playing Susano, having so much mobility with his passive, you always have to take into account the mobility that CycloneSpin provides with his aura. It's just too much to really handle.
Well, now the Fire Giants, the next objective Envy could start looking for. I mean, normally we'd say around 20-25 minutes the Fire Giants the objective, but the way this game's gone so far, the lead that Envy have, they can go for it, and they're going to do it.
They have the Sustain from Kiki, they have the Coerce from PolarBearMike, as well as the Dragon Form Coerce, which is going to give the area of effect, but it doesn't seem that enemy... They finally do spot it out, though.
But they're going to look for a bait more than anything. However, that hammer being off the mark from PolarBearMike may force a reset here. Marauder around the corner, an enemy here with reinforcements, and they're going to actually pressure onto PolarBearMike, who avoids that stun from the bomb with his Draconic Roar.
And they could re-engage if they wanted to. Kiki could heal in the back line.
Got aggroed. So Fire Giant got aggroed there, which could cause a couple of issues for both teams here if they can find those pillars. But meanwhile, the bombs are all used up by Khaos there. PolarBearMike did some decent work. Left-hand side, however, Cyclone is keeping the carry. PandaCat busy and looking for a kill.
He doesn't have Aegis, and that's going to allow CycloneSpin to abuse that fact. Just so much damage coming out of his ultimate, his second ability. There's just nowhere for PandaCat to really go.
And now Cyclone's going to be able to sit in the left-hand side, push for a tier 2 again, force a potential rotation out of enemy here. Marauder may have to teleport over here, otherwise they're going to lose another 1,500 gold.
Just being the patient game. PolarBearMike caught in an awkward spot. He doesn't have his ultimate available. The Terra ultimate
is coming through. The tree is in the sky, and there comes onto Marauder. And Marauder focused down again, trying to pick him up, but Terra's blessing comes through for the extra mobility. Marauder still trying to create a front line for his team as the bombs from Khaos keep Envy at bay for now, but slowly but surely they're being chipped down and whittled to death here. Envy finally pick up Marauder.
Beautiful ultimate from Kiki, finding that second target onto Marauder. 2 seconds down. They're still going to keep going, though. The right side Phoenix is exposed. Left side being pressured by CycloneSpin. Really difficult for a level 14 Susano to keep up.
Especially with Marauder being down, they can look for this Phoenix. The boar is down from PandaCat. He's got no purification. They just remove him from the map one more time, and they will remove this Phoenix as well.
Khaos trying to hold with his bombs is not enough, though, because Kiki has the sustain, dashing aggressively as his last breath to hold this right side Phoenix, but it goes down in the end.
Oh, Shad just trying to hang around for PolarBearMike and pick up the kill, and Mike's going to turn the tables on him, use the ultimate to perfection and the coerce to avoid the extra damage. Then Pain falls down too. Enemy committing, just looking for that one pick to turn this game around. It's just been turned on his head again. Envy looks so good, Tolly.
Great sanctuary from Skeeledon, but Marauder reviving, able to clean that one up. They got what they came for, though. They got the right side Phoenix. They shut down so many members from enemy yet again. This sustained from Kiki. Can we look at his healing done real quick?
Yeah, have a look at Kiki's healing here and see exactly how this one's played out for him. 10,000 healing so far this game. Pretty good, but you look at the player damage done. I mean, that's basically all of what Khaos has put out.
And he's been doing a great job surviving for the most part. Only one death to his name. He was left alone for a large portion of the game because Skeeledon, he was always rotating to that duel and trying to set up Oceans in a nice spot.
Well, now the Fire Giants under threat by Envy one more time here. Nobody from enemy in the area just yet. And they've got enough carries to bring this one down, I believe, before even Susano or Shattered can even get here.
And we're going to see nobody really in position. Shattered's making the rotation. He has the mobility. He jet streams in, but he gets a nice little stun off. The Typhoon not in time. Envy secure the Fire Giant.
And immediately Shattered tries to run away. Close the gap from PolarBearMike for a second, but he'll be happy just to go towards mid lane instead. Maybe a look for PainDeViande, who's on the run here, but going to get slowed down. He's got his ultimate online. Good stuff from Khaos. Good wall from Pain, but Pain still being chased. The Terra's blessing is still in effect there, but Waxing Moon's up for Kiki if he really wants it.
He finds the Waxing Moon, still committing to the kill. A nice little bomb stun onto Kiki, but CycloneSpin has speed buff and the aura to keep chasing, and finally finds the kill onto Pain.
And now that support down, the Terra blessing being down too. Also impactful means that it's a 4v5 at tier 2.
They're going to have the Fire Giant. They're going to go for this last remaining Tier 2 tower before they commit into the mid Phoenix. Nice little bait by PolarBearMike, just avoiding the bomb stun. Going to allow the rest of his team to keep aggressive. CycloneSpin dashing in aggressively, just trying to bait out cooldowns.
Looking for the Phoenix. Into the sky goes Skeeledon one more time. And he'll find 2 targets to the back and 2 carries. Khaos forced his Sanctuary away. PandaCat forced to use Boar as well. And he's going to still close the gap, Skeeledon, and find the kills. Meanwhile, on the backside of this fight, Marauder is trying to deal with Oceans, and he doesn't really care about him. Now that the ultimate's on cooldown, Marauder's isolated, but they don't care. Envy looking to end the game here against Enemy and take a 2-0, their first one of the split.
Just a great performance, I would say, from all of Envy overall. They've been just on point both the last and this game specifically. I would give a lot of credit to the way Skeeledon has been performing.
Credit where it's due, right? We spoke about Oceans, we spoke about Cyclone, but a lot of people this season, and even a few of the casters and the people in the scene, said Skeeledon was probably the weakest link of this team.
I would say a little bit differently because...
At the start of the season, I think like he was probably the one who's died a lot overall, you know, in the previous
He's been trying to
well.
be looking for the plays for the most part. This game specifically, a lot of credit goes to his name. He's been executing it brilliantly. He knows where he needs to be at all times. He was abusing PandaCat that whole game.
And not just game 2, but game 1 as well. Skeeledon for me was probably MVP of that game overall. Yes, we saw some good performance from Oceans. Yes, Cyclone went off as usual, but no, that was all Skeeledon for me.
The second game, though, the rotation from CycloneSpin defending the own speed buff, I think that play alone is what set Envy up for the win after that point in time. They just snowballed so heavily, finding the constant speed and blue buff invades.
Well, here's CycloneSpin for you. Up against PandaCat in this lane, and he's got Purification and Blink here, Panda, at half health. He does pop the board. I'm pretty sure he tries to pop the board to avoid the stun coming out from... No, he actually pops it early before he could get the ultimate. I thought it was a little bit later than that, and, well, Boar doesn't do anything when Cyclone's in his ultimate.
If he had a Sanctuary, maybe he could survive a little bit longer, but having the Blink option definitely bit him there.
And we've actually got Kiki on the line right now. Kiki, so ever so cheeky, who played the Chang'e last game. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, great. I got to kill the first game.
Yeah, you did.
Nice.
Congratulations, first of all, on your 2-0 today. How are you and the guys doing?
Thank you. We're doing great. We're like really excited because we're finally we're figuring out how we want to play and we're accepting, you know, what everyone wants to do in their role. Sorry, that's the microwave.
It's okay. What are you cooking?
I don't know. It's clumsy. You know, he loves his microwavables.
Is it pizza rolls?
Probably.
Yeah,
Peckies would be happy.
He would, and so would Clumsy. Well, Kiki, tell us a little bit more about the team, because obviously we saw you guys recently, obviously the PTS was up, and you guys were all playing the Jing Mountain together for a lot of that.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, like playing behind the scenes, you know, just other game modes and conquests, does that actually build you guys as a team a little bit more?
Yeah, the PvE gave us great synergy. We, you know, and in that game mode, you each have a role. You have to figure out who's going to take care of which in all the 15 scenarios. You know, one person has to, you know, tank the Artemis who one-shots people.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great.
It wasn't really to talk about the PvE. It was more to do with the fact that some of that synergy that I saw in that PvE that you guys were playing really showed off in this set, especially with the way you guys rotated and supported each other so well.
Yeah, we're figuring out what everyone wants to do. So, like before, you know, we didn't know where everyone was going to be. We know Skilly's job now. We know my role. I'm just going to sit middle and farm. PVM's going to go kill people. Like I think he was second most damaged that game, in the second game.
And is that why you went Chang'e that last game? Because you were expecting to be left alone for the majority of that early game while Skeeledon makes the rotations? Or was it more to counter the Vamana pick?
Well, they had a high pressure middle, you know. It was, if I went Numa, I could probably die. They could probably dive me. She's pretty, like, you know, susceptible with their long range, and my clays would just get murdered. So I just knew I had to play it safe while Rat just cleaned up the side lanes.
It worked great for you guys overall there. So you finally win here against Enemy, and you go into your final week. Now your next opposition is Allegiance, which, to be fair, the whole of NA seems really tough this split, Kiki, overall.
Yeah.
What's your expectations against Allegiance?
Well, if we lose, it's going to be because Weekend pops off. Weekend is crazy. I don't know. They're going to be good games, that's for sure.
How do you feel about playing against Weekend next week?
Okay, so last split, he 2-0'd us after he got picked up, and they had practice for like a week. So I want redemption, you know. I love Weekend, but I want to show him that, you know, we could beat him.
Well, it's a fantastic performance from you and the guys. Any shouts you want to give before you let you go, Kiki?
Yeah, shout out to Envy, shout out to my team for, you know, just letting me not get any kills at all.
I mean, you don't need kills, though. I don't
need kills, yeah, that's
just
true.
Hold
they
him
just let me farm middle, so I got enough farm there. And shout out for the PV practice.
Yeah, shout out to that. It came in handy. Thanks so much for joining us, Kiki. Congratulations, and
Take care.
good luck in the rest of the split.
Yep.
That was Kiki from Team Envy, who just 2-0'd here today. Fantastic performance from those boys. I'm really impressed.
Giving them 3 points. They're now at 6 right now. They're still in the middle of the pack. They have one more game to go to try to get a little bit closer, get themselves a better group.
That's a good point. I mean, if they find a 2-0 in the next game, I mean, that'll climb to 9 points, and then you're starting to look into the realm of the top sort of seeds in those groups.
Yeah, man, that's going to be very important heading into the LAN to get that right group, because you want to be in the top 2 of your group to get into Super Regionals.
Well, next up, we've still got 3 more sets to bring you. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we're back, we'll have more action for you.
Promises don't mean a thing.